people join.
Yeah, I guess I'll, do you want to do introductions, Aaron, or me?
Sure, I'll do the introductions. My name is Aaron Niederhoff. Hold on, I unmuted good. My name is Aaron Niederhofer. I'm the president of Autism Self-Advocacy Atlanta, aka ASAA. We are originally the Atlanta branch of Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, also known as ASAN. Kayla Rodriguez is the vice president and also our chief ambassador.
Yes, hello.
Now your turn, Kayla.
Oh, sorry.
You want to go ahead and continue the rest of the introduction?
Yes, so basically, yeah, I think it's either Autism Self-Advocacy Atlanta. I thought it was Autistic Self-Advocacy Atlanta.
I get it mixed up way too many times myself.
Yeah. So Aaron is correct. We are the ASAN brand. We used to be the ASAN chapter of Atlanta. We became our own group back in like 2017, but we still are affiliated with ASAN. We still keep in contact with ASAN. ASAN, ASAN being the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network was founded in 2006. Basically, what the whole story behind that is, the founder of ASAN was originally part of Autism Speaks, which was founded a year earlier, and he was dissatisfied with the lack of representation and how they were treating autistics. So he left Autism Speaks and he started ASAN. He's no longer the president. I think he now works for the ACLU. Julia Bassam is the current president. Me and Aaron have both talked to the heads of ASAN, which is Julia Bascom, Zoe Gross, and Haley Outlaw. And so, basically, ASAN is basically the anti-Autism Speaks. We are, and so is ASAA, and because, we do, as rules, one of the rules is that we can't have any affiliations with Autism Speaks directly. We are an affiliate group though, so we have leverage, but we still have to follow ASAN's guidelines. But yeah, we promote like autism acceptance. We promote like representation, and yeah, is that a good summary, Aaron?
I think it was a bit, a few things were missed out. Part of ASA's work when it comes to autism acceptance is building bridges. It's what is acceptance? For us, we believe that part of what needs to be done is building bridges between the autism and non-autistic community. We also work on showing different groups of Georgia that autistics can be accepted into their parts of society or be contributing members. So we actually cover several areas. The workforce, where we will work with employers to figure out ways that people on the spectrum can be successful hires, working with different government branches to figure out proper accommodations so that autistics can be able to enter these areas, not be discriminated against. And we also work on helping people on the spectrum normalize relationships with their more neurotypical peers. So it's more than just acceptance. While yes, we were formed in response to lack of representation and respect by what was done by Autism Speaks, we are trying to we're not basically a group formed to oppose everything. We are basically trying to grow the aspects of the autism community to be a respected member of society that has its own place in the world around it.
Yes, correct. I mean, we also are against Autism Speaks, but that's not our full focus, like you said.
So I like to think of us as gardeners. For example, one of the I think this is where I'll begin the discussion, right, Kayla?
Yeah, we're gonna basically talk about what we're currently doing and our goals. I think one of the things is the socials. You want to talk about that?
Yes. So being an advocate in any form isn't exactly easy. Like I said, in gardening, it has to be cultivated, grown. But also, autism is a communication disorder. You can't learn skills from scratch. They have to be grown. ASAA has developed a program of where we have over currently 240 members in the Georgia community, where we've been setting up social groups of lunch and dinner and video game socials across Georgia. So not just Atlanta, but also in Cobb, Gwinnett, and outside of the greater Atlanta area, for the purpose of nurturing social development in people on the spectrum that allow them to grow as people and contribute in the future as advocates. I'm going to read off this little bullet point list that I've developed, and you guys can stop me at any point if you have questions. Oh, for the record, the reason why it's Aaron with an E, my mother refused to have my father give my first name be Ehren. So as a compromise, he got to give me the middle name of Kyle. Now you know. Anyway. What was that? Did we have someone new join the chat?
Oh, I joined in, but you heard my my email. I'm going to take my email off. Sorry.
Just in time. All right. We're going to ASAA program, the lunch dinner socials for folks on the spectrum in Meetup and Facebook. Meetup.com is a social networking site that allows people to meet up live. I basically cover the finances for it to maintain the group. And in the process, we select people across Georgia to host socials of 10 to 15 people in restaurants or certain dining areas during the day or evening that allow for group socials and skill building. Some of these people will be trusted to host video games at their residences for extended socials. But this is a good way of getting people out of the house and into interactions with others. So starting off, the stage 1 steps. Lay the groundwork for rules to prevent conflict, misbehavior, or other trouble. Just because somebody has a developmental disorder does not mean rules can be ignored or broken. That's often something people may misunderstand. The initial purpose will be to get people with ASD into activities outside the household, meet new people, also find new interests outside what they're normally experienced to. The more people you interact with, the more your world grows. And the more your world grows, the more you are able to grow with it. The development of social skills and trying different foods in different environments under regulated or guided settings with trusted event hosts. This will not only expand the personal interests, but with parents and caretakers trying to get their family or wards to try new foods, healthier foods, better foods, less expensive foods, this actually has an economic and social benefit. The event hosts and the friends of the event hosts will try to assist repeat members in conversations and making friends. This will be important because while the meetup is the goal of helping people socialize, our end result is we want the friends to be maintained outside the meetup group. We don't want people to just wait for the next group. We want them to be able to chat outside of it. Whether online or face-to-face, we want those friendships to develop further and grow. The next step will be the growth of the program. The event hosts and the managers of the meetup will find members who have shown emotional, mental maturity and growth, engage their interest in becoming future event hosts. We would help them become adjusted to the members of the program and see about them having one to three friends who would assist them should they choose to become an event host. This is important because being a leader isn't, I do everything myself, I command myself. You need people to back them up. For example, I may be president of ASAA, but I've built a sizable board that may actually be larger than some of the groups because whenever I make a decision, I have people play devil's advocate or critic for me because I trust the judgment of others to guide me towards that point. If someone's going to be an event host, they need somebody who can back them up if they have any trouble. Have someone they can depend on so they don't feel the burden on their shoulders alone. And so that they know that they will have support and they can feel more confident in leading. With this, we have the senior staff observe and help guide their progress to where they become gradual event hosts, able to use the program not only to set up the lunch and dinner socials, but video game socials as well. Generally, we do request that they come into it if they're outside of the greater Atlanta area, say Gainesville, Athens. We would generally request that they come for a face-to-face meeting over lunch or dinner, just so we can get a good feel and gauge their character to make sure that we're making the right decision. Because as the leaders of this program, it is still an autistic run program, and we do have to face liability. Non-restaurant socials will, of course, be worked out with ASAA leadership, as while it is a program meant for non-ASAA members, you don't have to be an autism self-advocate to do it. ASAA still created this program, and as such, the board members and the advisory council are the ones that really help guide the decisions. Nothing about us without us. It's basically an autistic-built social program for all people with disabilities. This will allow us to make sure that the enjoyment is drama-free. Despite what they say in the movies, it's not that great to have those types of drama. Just saying. Event hosts will be given the trust of ASAA in this regard after the relationship is built. So trust is very important for everyone. Using this event host development plan to create such socials across the state of Georgia, this expands the benefits that come with for people with ASD socializing and stepping outside their comfort zone. What's really critical about this is with social skills, with new development of the mindset, and with new interests, not only does this help with socializing and making friends, but it allows their growth into people who can become better employees, better participants in different activities, and altogether, they grow to the point where they are able to make a huge impact in the world around them. And speaking of said impact, this is where we are able to build them, see where we can get new self-advocates. After 6 months to 1 year of engagement as an event host, ASAA will meet with the event host for evaluation based on attendee satisfaction and event host input / suggestions for programs and feelings on how being an event host has impacted their lives. So basically, we gauge them by seeing, do they have suggestions for how they feel things can improve? How has been given this responsibility to make an impact in other people's lives changed them or made them feel about their lives? And how do other people feel about having them? How do other people feel they have their trust? ASAA would show the event hosts how their leadership skills, their organizational skills, and their communication skills that they have built have allowed them to build the potential to become trained advocates. They don't need the further training. They've already built it. Or maybe a few bits of keynote speaking or public speaking practice, but that's easy to do with when they've already dealt with a bit of a crowd. Explain to them how some of the goals of ASAA can be related to what they're doing, and offer them the opportunity to lend their voice, their experience, their input, and their goals to ASAA and their members. If they choose to accept, have them take part in a few of our chapter meetings and have them become acquainted with the board and advisory council. Try to see what opportunities to give them that they would be passionate about to make sure that they find their niche rather than force them into a role they're uncomfortable with. ASAA must be sure to assist them along their way until they're ready to stand on their own 2 feet. If the offer is rejected, accept the no, but still ask about assisting them in employment, as their skills and experience gained from event hosting, they have a better chance at landing employment opportunities through our associates, the Mentor website, who ASAA leadership works with. In other words, if they say no, accept it, but still be friends. Take a no with grace. This is where we'll be discussing Mentor, but first things first, this is basically the program ASAA has built to enhance social skills across Georgia, develop new autistic self-advocates, and overall bring the autism communities closer together. Before we go to the next step, which will be Mentra. Thank you, Maya. We look to help you with it in your area, but you're also doing great too. I'd like to take a couple of minutes to see if anyone has any quick questions about our social program. Oh, I guess everything's good. I didn't see any, oh, yes.
So this is Maya. One thing I want to talk about is the Mentor thing.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, how many connections have you made for Mentor?
About 3 or 5. Oh, are we talking about the Mentra organization?
Mm-hmm. With the help, I mean, how is that collaboration going, by the way?
Oh, it's going wonderfully. We may be getting a bank involved, and also I believe they're trying to get in touch with Delta. I'm going, I think I may have connected you. If not, I will.
Okay.
So
But,
Aaron, let's explain. Oh, Laura, you had a question?
Laura, turn off your microphone.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, so I had a question about the social skills development. What do you feel are the biggest barriers? I just am asking because in my experience, like the biggest barrier I've encountered to developing social skills is the threat of rejection. Like, how do y'all cope when in providing like safe spaces where you don't have to be afraid of like saying something stupid and being judged, you know, having a safe space for social interaction? Like, how do y'all ensure that that's
we try to make sure that first the socials are a bit small so that it won't be too large or overwhelming. Second, just as we have the event hosts have 1 to 3 friends help them, when I'm doing any event hosting, when the ASAA leadership is, we have 1 to 3 people who serve as moderators to help with that.
Okay.
So that way we serve as basically somebody who's keeping an eye on the crowd and making sure that if anyone's nervous, which generally there are going to be a few people, we serve as a buddy to them and help them feel better. A barrier we often face, and we've had to remove members, is people who don't think the rules apply to them or refuse to care about the rules because they think, oh no, I left this household because I don't want authority. I want to do this where I can just be myself. The problem is where they don't acknowledge that what they think is different from others.
Okay, so y'all have like controls in place to kind
like
of.
I said, we establish a strict system of rules, and generally we've had to deal with people who joined without even looking. We are able to generally spot those people and ask if they read the rules, and ask them to, and if they haven't, we take them to the side and try to show them the rules on our smartphone. There have been cases where people would actually prefer to leave rather than follow rules, both at video game socials and at the lunch and dinner. Those people are removed from the list. Generally, we get a bit of flack from the parents. Maya, this one's Atlanta generally, unless we're talking a video game social in which people from other states can take part through those. But we're trying to basically set a system that can be replicated by other states.
Okay.
Aaron, we gotta get going. We gotta keep going.
But yeah, the biggest problem, Laura, will be the people that don't want to think the rules apply to them.
Okay, and y'all have controls in place to account for that, so that's a safe space for everybody.
It's a controlled, moderated, regulated space.
Cool.
Now on to Mentra.
Thanks.
Sure. Prior to his death, Autism Society of Georgia leader Scott Kramer expressed dissatisfaction with job fairs for people with disabilities, as he claimed that it was basically, inefficient and not helping find the right fits for people on the spectrum. He felt it was basically for show and not for actually giving people what they needed. Scott sought out what he called a reverse job fair, where applicant hopefuls would be the ones setting up their booths at the job fair, and employers would come to each booth to pick up a resume and then choose a candidate. Sadly, Scott passed away from cancer a few years back. So
Actually, Scott died. Scott died of cancer last fall.
Yeah, but Scott died in September because that's when I took over his group.
Okay. The Atlanta Autism Consortium could not effectively begin his project without his charismatic guidance. No offense to anyone working with him, none at all. The following, around that time, ASAA President Niederhofer and Vice President Rodriguez were presenting at a workshop by an organization called Illimitable, which was trying to design programs and activities to work with all types of developmental disabilities. While we were there, we met one Jilika Kumar and her group from Georgia Tech who were working on an app, later to be a website called Mentra. The plan was for people with developmental disabilities were to set up accounts on the website with all details of their interests, strengths, experience, weaknesses, goals, etc. And then employers would come to the site to hunt for job candidates with developmental disabilities, as it was part of a government law requiring the hiring of special needs employees. We realized this was literally an online version of Scott's reverse job fair concept. So ASAA began working with Mentra on providing volunteer guidance and continuing to assist in the website's development and testing. Now ASAA's goal will be to connect Mentra leadership with businesses and organizations to expand Mentra's reach into the workforce to have more employers to reach applicants. This will include banks, transportation companies, we're hoping Delta, and others. With this, we can hopefully assist the autism community in finding or creating jobs tailored to their skills while providing accommodations that were discussed and worked out in advance. And with more so in the community joining in the workforce, the Georgia economy benefits overall, and so everyone is happy. Let's see. I think that's it for that part.
We have a question
Yes.
in the chat box.
Oh, I didn't see the chat box. How do I open this?
Just press chat at the bottom of the screen.
Okay, Yanine, I am not sure, honestly, if it's for all levels.
I think it is, right?
I do know that if there is the option in the Mentor website for someone to assist the applicants with filling out the application. So I believe it will be varying levels. That I know.
And the age is like adult, right?
I believe at least 18, maybe 16. I need to double check, but it's definitely meant to help people with adults join the workforce.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Again, just as with ASAA, we're hoping that the Mentor program can be something that other states can replicate. We're basically coming up with a new idea that really is kind of blueprinted before, hasn't been really tried in other states. If we can be successful with the meetup program, or if Mentor can be successful, this practice, the website, the activities can be replicated to other states and assist them too. Atlanta is unique in that we have a great business culture and a great deal of networking. Other states have different cultures and different environments. But if we can successfully do something here, it could hopefully be tailored to other states. Just like autism, other states are not a one-size-fits-all. It varies.
Right. We do have another question in the chat box.
The material, I think I discussed the, I believe I discussed the meetup website, the meetup program, and some of the activities. By providing the rules and regulations, by having people follow those rules, they're able to develop the better behavior or leadership and interests that help them grow as people. When it comes to them taking self-advocates, Kayla and I have them come with me on some activities where we basically have them job shadow us. We may take them to a few networking events like the consortium, a GSU or Emory related event, and basically slowly have them get introduced to other people. For me, networking is a huge part, but it can be overwhelming for a lot of others. So slow and steady. The problem is, the hardest part for me to teach them is patience.
I think maybe he meant Mentra, like mentor them for a job. as
That's
well.
Mentra takes care of that.
Okay.
I am unfortunately not a job coach, but Mentra has been, I was able to get Mentra in touch with the job employment agency Briggs and Associates, which is one of the larger special needs employment agencies in the state of Georgia. Again, different states have different programs, and not all of them have something like good job employment agencies. But by putting Mentra in touch with job employment agencies, they can outsource the mentoring to that. Basically, ASAA does not control Mentra. We control the meetup program. ASAA has built Mentra is a partner to ASAA. To effectively improve advocacy and employment, we have to work. We do not know if they're collaborating with GVRA. If they are, then they found someone in GVRA willing to work with them.
I think did Julika Kumar created Mentra with Connor,
Reinhardt.
and I think that I think they tried to talk with GVRA, so it may be in the works, but I'm not entirely sure yet. But I think it may be in the works for a collaboration between GVRA. Laura, you have a question?
Yeah. Hey. So I am also on the advisory board Corey meetings, and Claire Dees with Spectrum is going to be having a job fair for people on the spectrum in November. And I was wondering, is there any way to bring all this together and like to collaborate with them to make it a fair as you've described?
Easy. We just send some representatives from Mentra to come meet you guys.
Awesome. Cool.
Basically, the partnership the contract partnership that ASAA has done with Mentra, ASAA will work with Mentra to establish connections with them to help them grow and connect with other organizations. In exchange, Mentra will help us get in touch with anyone they try to help so that we can help enrich the lives of those autistics to find new advocates. We're looking for people who are LGBT, women, minorities, because we're trying to have a more diverse representation in the autism self-advocacy. As you're probably aware, when you see autistics in the media, it's a straight white male. Case in point, we're trying to have more people who break those stereotypes and have more representation and get them into conferences, video panels, etc., so people can see a wider view.
Yeah, and this ties into actually the socials. So that we were going to discuss. I mean, not the socials, the panels. My bad.
Let me just finish up here, and then it's all yours. So basically, Laura, our goal will be to get Mentra in touch with like GVRA, more of Nathan Zimmerman's group as well, I believe. If you've taken over from Scott Kramer, Nathan, then it's our goal to put Mentra in touch with you to see how they can be a resource for you. Sound good?
Yeah.
And Laura,
Aaron,
the same.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I just was going to say one last thing. They are looking for a keynote speaker, and I don't know if you'd be interested, but I floated your name because you're very well spoken and you're also employed and very successful. So I was wondering if you would be interested in possibly filling that role.
Cool beans, as my sister would say. Oh God, I'm still saying that. But just let me know how long I should speak. Do I do formal or business casual, etc.?
We're going to be having an advisory board meeting at the end of this month, so I will get all those details, but I will definitely let Claire know that you're interested. So cool.
And I promise I will not. The first time I ever did a panel for Claire, I actually swore about how proud I was to be my mother's son. So there will not be any thing like that. Oh,
Okay, Aaron, we
Wonderful mom doing.
We got to keep going now. Okay.
All right, Kayla, thank you so much. You have the floor.
Okay, yeah, and I will talk to Claire, Laura, about this job fair.
Reverse job fair.
Correct. And I refer to autism as a disability rather than a disorder, but that's my two cents on that. But anyway, so now Aaron, we could talk about this together, and then I'll get to my specific topics that I wanted to discuss.
I think we covered everything, but if you want to take the lead,
I guess I will. if you don't mind. So the other things ASAA is doing, we were doing panels. We actually were going in March before COVID became, a thing. Me and Maya were going to be on this autistic women's panel.
With Haley Moss.
We're going to,
With Haley Moss.
With Haley Moss and Marnike Giwa and Owedo. I don't know. Godiwo, yeah. She, Haley Moss is the first openly autistic lawyer in the state of Florida, and Marnike is one of the lead people on the Autistic Women's and Non-Binary Network, which I do want to collaborate with her in the future, more with ASAA. I've tried to email her, but anyway, so that panel was supposed to be in March. We were also going to do another panel with Limitable. Unfortunately, those have since been pushed back because of what's going on with COVID-19. The panel is now rescheduled for the end of the summer for the women's panel, and I don't know when the Eliminable panel
What's the
will
second
be
one?
rescheduled to.
What's the second panel?
Eliminable, which is where we met Jalika Kumar, who developed Mentra. So it was a chance meeting there at that panel. We wanted to do another panel with Eliminable, but unfortunately that has been pushed back to an unspecified date. And I know that the women's panel will be with Powerhouse Strong, will be at the end of the summer now. Powerhouse Strong is just going to feature ASAA members. We're really not really involved. I mean, ASAA members are on the panel. So it'd be good if you guys, we have like a GoFundMe if you're interested. We also have Eventbrite, so you could register for the panel. So yeah, it's really awesome. I hope you come. We also are working towards having, Maya's also doing podcasts with the women on the panel. I was on one of her podcasts. If you want to check it out, go right ahead. But basically, we also are planning future panels. We basically wanted to have a Black autistic panel, maybe like a Latinx panel, LGBT panel, other things, because like Erin said, the stereotype of autism and what autism speak shows mainly is straight white males, and that's also portrayed in the media, and we want to show that autism can be everyone. And that's really what the goal with these panels are. We do have to, I think we're trying to do, yes, like a spectrum. We are really trying to focus more on the women's panel right now, but more panels like LGBT, Latinx, Black autistics, and others will be in the works following those panels. Again, just COVID-19 has unfortunately affected all of our plans, like it has everybody else's. So, but those are part of those plans. Another plan that I want to talk about is like getting autistic people to vote this year, because I feel like, and there's been a lot of people with disabilities, you see people with disabilities getting hampered at the polls, like not being able to vote at the polls, having problems. So I really want to encourage autistic people to vote this year, and like, because our voices need to be heard and people with disabilities need to be heard in these elections. And I want to encourage that. I also want to encourage ASAA and our members to be more involved into the advocacy part of things. I mean, we are still going to do the socials and mentor and all that stuff, but in panels, but we also want to do like talk to our legislators and basically talk to our legislators and try to make change. Like some of our members might need the Medicaid waivers, and Governor Kemp, he has only given out 100 waivers this year. And so maybe we could try doing that, try to advocate for more waivers or more mental health stuff, or just, helping people on the spectrum. So I wanted to do that. Let me see my other goals. And So, I just want autistic people to vote and be more involved with like legislation. I mean, like, I'm not saying that every one of our members will be a self-advocate or an advocate or will want to contact our legislators and stuff like that. But I'm hoping some of them do. They don't have to meet them in person, but maybe just email. Yes, I also heard about everything's going to be okay. I do want to see that. That's one of the things I need to watch. But basically, yeah, I need, that's what I'm trying to do, be more like do advocacy and like influence like policy in some ways. I'm not saying that every one of our members will be an advocate, but if they could try to like contact their legislators about like autism stuff, like right now, I would really like autistics to be like, or people with disabilities in general to be more involved in the COVID-19 relief packages. So that would be a good thing. So yeah, something like that. Another one of the goals I currently have is, this might be controversial. So yeah, and emails are much easier to do than speaking to them in person. I've tried to speak to them in person. It's been really nervous. So like emails or phone calls can do that as well. So anyway, the other things we want to discuss is, so ASAN, this might be controversial to some of you, but ASAN is opposed to ABA. I know we're not trying to attack people who have been involved with ABA. I know some of our members are very passionate about the subject who are against it. You know, I'm learning more as we speak about it. And I don't have the best opinion on. I don't think it's great. So instead, we're trying to focus on alternatives to ABA. And if you don't know what ABA is Applied Behavioral Analysis. There are some harmful things it has done and continues to do. One of our members, Ira Idle, I don't know how to say his last name, but basically he has created a list of alternatives to ABA. He basically says like autistic people cannot be treated. It's a neurotype, not a disease. Autistic people have co-occurring conditions that are separate from autism and not one and the same. There are things you want, these are the things you want to treat, like the coexisting co-occurring conditions, not the autism itself. And then stay away from supposed autism diets. Self-injurious behavior is non-autism traits. It's either a trauma response or a result of overstimulation. So that's a big thing for people, that autistic people want to harm themselves. Yes, there are. We were trying to provide alternative methods. We can't just say it's bad, that's all. There has to be some alternatives. So, and I'm just saying, yeah, so self-injury, people think it's that's part of being autism. It is not. It's mainly like a trauma response, or it's overstimulation. And then also some practices bill themselves as ABA, even though they're actually not. If it is real ABA, it should be avoided. And other, you know what I'm saying? So I could send the link to this document if you guys would want. And positive behavior support is related to ABA and should be avoided. And you have to call your kid's insurance company to make sure your treatment is covered. So there are some resources here, like basically like there are private schools that are neurodiversity informed, like Hirsch Academy. There are occupational therapy, like Play Therapy and Play Matters and Kids Can. There's also speech language therapy, like the Pediatric Speech Therapy in Foresight and SPS Atlanta. And there are other resources here. So I'm going to copy and paste this link if anyone wants to look at it. Is a very great link of sources. And right now, of course, COVID-19 is affecting a lot of things right now. That's why we're having this in virtual, but things are starting to reopen. So if you want to look into that for your child or like anything, I recommend looking at this resource because Ira did an amazing job. And So anyway, I know some people feel passionate about ABA because they are working in ABA themselves. The ASAN is opposed to ABA, and we are trying to and ASA in general is opposed to ABA, and we're trying to give them alternatives, if that makes sense. So the final thing I really wanted to discuss, we are also trying, well, the other two things I wanted to discuss real quickly because we're running out of time. So I wanted to ASAA to get involved with the Autism Plan of Consortium and the Atlanta Autism Consortium. I'm saying there are great people there. There are great people there, but I feel like what I've seen of both those places is that there's not a lot of autistics making the decisions there. So I wanted, autism representation. If this is Atlanta Autism Consortium, it shouldn't be just the parents of these autistic children making all the decisions and doctors and everything. We need our voice to be heard. Again, nothing about us without us. And the same with the Autism Plan of Georgia. And I'm not throwing shade at Autism Plan of Georgia, but when I was there, me and Maya were the only autistics at the meeting, and it's supposed to be the Autism Plan for Georgia, which is, all of Georgia.
Well, Aaron is also part of APG.
Who?
Aaron,
but there is some, I'm not saying some autistics aren't involved, but the ratio of autistics involved to neurotypicals involved is like 1 to 4 or something. Like 4 to 1. And there's more, I'm saying there's more neurotypicals involved in the Autism Plan of Georgia and the consortium than there are actual autistics. So I want to get the autistic community to be more involved in these things because they're making the decisions for autistics, and I think we should be involved in making those decisions. And there are some autistics involved in these things, but there needs to be more. And so that's what I want ASAA to do. Basically, in addition to the socials and the panels and mentor, which are all great things, I want us to do more advocacy stuff as well. And that's the last thing I want to talk about is basically, yes, tokenism is really bad too. We can't just have these people I think these people, like Autism Speaks, they use autistics as, just as tokens, like to say, oh, we are including autistics in our organizations, but it's really not. Like, it's only a small ratio, right? Like a really small number of autistics compared to all these neurotypicals making decisions, advocating for us when we should be doing the advocating ourselves for us. And that's what really advocacy is about. The importance of advocacy, to me, it's like, I'm an advocate, so one day someone doesn't have to be. And I want autistics to be advocates because, again, all these people, are making decisions for us when we should be making our own decisions. So we really need to step up and get our voices heard and say, look, you need to include us in these type of things. You need to help, we need to be involved in these decisions that you're going to make about us. And so one day, hopefully one day someone doesn't have to be an advocate because we'll do all the work for them. And stop using it as window curtains. That's right. We need to, be involved in the decisions we make for us. So hopefully one day that'll happen, but until then we have to advocate for that. I hope that makes, stop trying to change us too.
okay, guys, there's 5 minutes.
There's 5 minutes. So I basically said everything I wanted to say. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them. And I'll also put we are on Facebook, Autistic. Let me get the Facebook link out. We are on Facebook if you guys want to message us, or, you'll be really talking to Aaron, but if you want to message ASAA, we are on Facebook. Let me get the link and I will I'll put it in this chat. You're welcome. Thank you for attending. If anybody else has any questions, please let us know. But yeah, I hope that gives you guys a good understanding of what I want ASAA's, me and Aaron's ASAA's goals, you're welcome, are. And yeah, so anyone have any questions?
Hey, Aaron, how do you go about approaching working with your individuals on the spectrum for mentoring? Do you start with their common interests to engage them, or how do you get them to build them into leadership roles?
I will let Aaron answer that.
Aaron, turn your microphone on.
Mentra basically is its own area. Basically, we let people know about Mentra at the meetup groups. They don't have to be a leader to take part in the Mentra program. They just have to build their account on it. So basically, if Indeed is a giant, inefficient website that basically is just you casting a reel in the pond and hitting nothing, Mentra is basically one that you build yourself up onto with more specific details, and then you patiently wait for an employer to find you rather than throwing tons and tons of worms into a pond.
So, Aaron, this is Maya. So, one question I have is, how do we learn how to assert ourselves with these people that don't take us seriously? They tend to ignore our accomplishments and talk to us like we're kids, or kind of try to undermine us.
The non-autistic individuals you're speaking of?
Yeah, ones that think they can define us because we're disabled. How do we assert ourselves?
We show them that we can accomplish things similar to them, but more importantly, one of the things that the mentor means so much to me about is show them that we have value and abilities to add value that they may not necessarily have. By showing that we have the power to make a contributing difference, a positive value to the society that they think they can exclude us from, we can show them that we are more than what they give us credit for. That is actually how I've managed to do the networking today. They will not give us a second thought unless we have something they want, whether it be financial value, knowledge value, or the ability to input something. They'll listen as long as we have something they want, an ability to do something they cannot do.
Or they're controlling individuals, and then they find out that we're too independent and we do our own thing. Then they back off and leave us alone.
When they realize that we are not so easily controlled. That is a reason many autistics may have seen issues with ABA. They feel like it teaches obedience rather than development. We are trying to, by building the leaders within the meetup program, we can inspire other people to grow on their own, which shows society our ability for growth. That just because we have a disability/disorder does not mean we are useless or should be discarded.
Okay.
Yeah,